Sunday night and getting things set for the live call-in show here in about 5 minutes. So settle in. I'm getting things set up here. Scott is not here. He's down at Walt Disney World. So it's just going to be you and me taking your calls. So settle in and we'll have a nice conversation for the next hour, but we'll start at the top of the hour. So grab a Coke Zero and get ready for some fun. See what we got here. Just looking for some news, looking for some news, looking for some news, looking for some news. Hello, Alfred, George, and Margie. Oh, I gotta sit up taller tonight. Actually, let's do this. Maybe that. Got to get above the lower third. Hang on. Fix that there. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hang on. Why is this? Let's see here. Oh, too much. Sorry if I'm making everybody seasick. When Scott's not here, it messes everything up. Okay, there we go. I'm excited. I just used some of the Patreon money to get a new mixer for the podcast, which will be here next week. So we'll have some new capabilities, which should be fun here in March. So thank you to everybody who's supporting the show. Hey, Margie. Hey, Jessica. Hello, Jessica. Where's everybody listening? I know that Alfred's up in New York. George is down in San Antonio. Rhonda's up in Nova Scotia. Hello, Rhonda Lee. Well, I was going to say that Wade was in Lincoln, Nebraska, but he is actually 30 minutes from Maui on a Southwest jet, so he's beating all of us. Aloha, buddy. Hope you have a good trip out there. It's going to be awesome. Glad for you. Well, Emily is at Steakhouse 71, so that's also not too bad. If Tim is working, look for Tim, the waiter, the server, and make sure you tell him we said hello because he's a big fan of the show and we're a big fan of him. Hello to Laura. Hello to Ashley. Everybody's in here. I love this little pre-show here. Oh, Jessica's up in New Hampshire, which I know which one that is because Vermont is the V shape and New Hampshire is the other one. When you're from Missouri, that's how you know. That's how we were always taught, and that's how I taught it when I taught 6th grade. That cake, though. Alan, you can have the prime rib, but you got to have the cake. It's like a 71-layer cake or something. So good. Melissa's in Central Illinois. This time next week, I'll be in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, for cheerleading. We were just there about a month ago, and we're going back. Erie, Pennsylvania. That's Erie. Thanks, Sherry. Glad you're here. Michelle is here from South Florida on the Atlantic coast. How awesome is that? Laura is here. She says she just moved from Chicagoland, so she probably knows about Schaumburg. We already know where we're eating next weekend because we ate there when we were there a month ago. We're going to have Giordano's Pizza, and we're going to have Portillo's for sure. Amy is here. Hello, Amy. Oh, Katie's here from southeastern Wisconsin. Katie, if I was up in the Dells, Wisconsin, I'd be having Moose Jaw Taco Pizza. Still the best taco pizza we've ever had. So good. And you got to wear the paper moose horns. Yeah, it was really good. Hey, Jason is here. Yes. And you guys have the best adventures when I see you guys with your son. Your son's up on social media. You're probably at the game. The game, I think, was this afternoon. I thought it was a 4-0 win. So Bennington's actually getting it going again, so that's good for us. He was kind of a mess there for a little while. Hello to Jennifer. What's going on? Jennifer O'Neill. Matt. What's going on, Matt? Parksnacker.com. Check it out. Download the app. Post your reviews. Or just go there and get hungry. Also, check them out on Instagram if you really, really want to get hungry. Park Snacker. The hardest thing to say if you're a podcaster, by the way, because you want to say Park Snapper or Park Zapper, but it's Park Snacker. Snacker. Get in there, grab it, or we're hanging out until we start the show at the top of the hour. Oh, it's almost the top of the hour. We're going to get started here in a second. Yeah, Moose Jaw's the best. I want to go with the Dells just to go back to Moose Jaw. God, and I follow them on Instagram, and they post those pictures, and I'm just like, man, I'm about ready to drive 7 hours just to go eat there again. That's correct. Monroe, Louisiana. Very cool. Again, one of Pam's former students, especially, is a defensive coach for the LSU Tigers in football this year. Robert Steeples. Corwin of Amber is here from out on the West Coast. He's going to do a trip report for us here this summer, so we're excited for that. Absolutely, Matt. It is awesome, and I enjoy all the content on Instagram, even though it kills me. Katie's here. Katie, the marathon girl. Look at that. Did you run, Princess Katie? Are you down there still? Probably, I would guess. Oh, Roll Tide. Roll Tide to the Longs down in Alabama. Yes. Kindred spirits. We were having this debate, Kurt, if Mizzou or Alabama is better at baseball. Because I don't follow baseball, college baseball, like I do football. Because we have a kid at our high school who verbally committed to Mizzou to play football and baseball. And he obviously he's our best player at our high school. 6'7", 230, tight end / defensive end. Dude's a stud. So we're excited. He committed to Mizzou like 6 months ago, verbal commitment. Then we're eating pizza Saturday night, and on his Instagram, boom, he gets an offer from the University of Alabama to play football. We're like, what? And then Mallory's like, it's okay. He wants to play baseball too. I'm like, well, he could probably play baseball at Alabama too. So we had this long discussion. So I love Bama, but I also love Mizzou. So we're just all thrown off because this kid's a game changer for us. Now, maybe not Bama, but we'll see how that goes. Your Tigers killed my Mizzou Tigers, by the way, Jennifer, last night in basketball, but everybody does. So our men's team is terrible. Our women's team got a big win today, though, against the Gators, and they're going to go to the NCAA tournament. So that was huge. Huge. Betsy's at MCO after a great Princess Run weekend. Yeah, I got news about that, by the way. You guys killed me this weekend. I loved watching it, but I got news. Breaking news. Oh, Katie wasn't down there either. Yes, she's going to Little Rock. I'm running a race in St. Louis in 2 weeks. See, Angie's up in the mitten. Go Blue. Ooh, well, it's okay. Scott's down. Well, he's probably in the pool. Let's see where Scott is real quick, then we'll start the show. Let's do a little Where's Scotty G now on Find My Friends. Ricky's at the Villages, by the way. I just saw that. Let's see where Scott is. Scott is at the Grand Floridian. He's having dinner, I bet you, at Citrico's, if I had to guess. Maybe we'll call him during the show. Let's do that later. I'll call him during the show live on the air. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Angie. Let's see. We don't. That's exactly what I said. I said you get offered to play football, Bama. Yeah, I mean that was the conversation I had. I said it was nice knowing the kid. I said at least he's going to get that offer put on the wall and like gold plated. But yeah, that's exactly what I said. I said it's a flex to put that on your Instagram. It's pretty good. This kid is a stud. He is awesome. I mean, all of your players are, but I mean, oh God, he'd be such a gift for Mizzou. Anyway, how about we talk Disney tonight? And but I'll need your calls tonight because it's just me. No Scotty G. Ricky's out of town. Pam's out of town. Scott's out of town. Everybody's out of town but me. So let's do it like the old days. Here we go. Computer ready. Yep. Let's see. MacBook's ready. PC's ready. Mission controls ready. Let's do this. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP Live call-in show. This is the BOGP Open Line here, recorded live on Sunday evening, February 27th, 2022. And I am your host, Mike Rallman from the Be Our Guest Podcast, of course, at beourguestpodcast.com. You know what? I'm pretty good at the intros for the... Let me try this again. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put out the tweet. I knew I was forgetting something. See, I got talking to everybody, and I got to put out the tweet that we're live, and then we'll get going here. So let me get that out there. And then I promise we'll do this for real for tonight's Be Our Guest. Sorry about that, podcast call-in show. Let's talk Disney for the next hour. Join us on. You're seeing how this is how the sausage is made here. Facebook.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. I'm working behind the scenes on the show today too, so I'm excited for that. Hang on one second. It's there. This is very exciting. Let's just go with that. Okay. Really, I just wanted to redo the intro. All right. Hey, let's do this. Hey, Jenna, we've been waiting for you to start the show. We're starting it over because Jenna wasn't here. That's what we're going to say. What am I sitting on? Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Terrible. Here we go. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP Open Line. This is the call-in show where we take your calls for the next hour. I, of course, am your host, Mike Rallman, from the Be Our Guest Podcast live here in the Be Our Guest Podcast studios in beautiful St. Peters, Missouri. We're recording the show live on Facebook and YouTube on Sunday evening, February 27th, 2022, in case you're listening to the show 10 years down the line. And speaking of that, we are getting very, very close to our 14th birthday. That'll be happening here in the next couple of weeks. We'll be excited to be celebrating that all together. 14 years of podcasting, over 2,100 episodes. We are having a good time. If you count all the live shows that we did back then, we didn't used to count them. All the specials that we've done over the years, we've had a good time podcasting, and it's all because of you. But today we are gathered here around the computer, around the modem, around the telecommunications device, so that we can communicate and talk Disney for the next hour and get your thoughts on a few different things. Actually, anything that you want to talk about in the Disney universe is fair game. I love talking Disney with you. This is your show. So whatever you would like to speak about tonight, let's do that, because instead of it being a typical Sunday night where it's you, me, and Scotty G, it's just you and me. Scotty G is down at Walt Disney World currently. Looks like he is, according to Find My Friends, I just peeked it out. He's at the Grand Floridian, so I would guess he's celebrating a successful what's it called? What was the challenge? This Princess Half Marathon weekend. Was it the Fairy Tale Challenge? I know he did all three races, so I'd imagine he's celebrating getting his 3 medals, probably at Citrico's, or one of those fancy restaurants that I never frequent. When I go to the Grand Floridian, it's Grand Floridian Cafe. And that's fancy enough for me. So that's kind of me. But I would guess he's at one of the fancier restaurants having a great meal with his family, which is what Walt Disney World's all about. But Fairy Tale Challenge. There we go. So I got it. All right. So first of all, congratulations to everybody who ran the Princess Half Marathon weekend races, the 5K, the 10K, the half. Looks like the weather was pretty awesome. I know it was kind of hot, but hot's better than cold, especially when you can run early in the morning. And when you can stay away from the 26-mile race, 26.2, that's the one where it gets a little sketchy when you got to have heat. But if you can get, the 5, the 10, the half, and get there. Usually you can get there before the sun gets too brutal. Looks like everybody was smiling at the finish lines from all the photos that I've seen. Everybody got to run with their friends. I saw lots of costumes, and I saw just a lot of good memories being made. A lot of first timers out there this past weekend. Shout out to you guys for getting out there for the very first time and crossing those lines. And a lot of folks who have run many, many Run Disney races. Glad to see you back out there. I'm glad to see that you had a good time, and congratulations on all of your runs. So we could talk about that if you were down there. If you're still there and you want to call in and give a quick recap of your thoughts of the Princess Half Marathon weekend, we could talk about that as well. Also, let's see what was in the news this past few days. There's a little hotel that just went through media previews and is still going through media previews currently. What, the Galactic Star Cruiser next to Disney's Hollywood Studios? Yeah, that little hotel next to Batuu, next to Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios. We've all seen the coverage on social media from a lot of influencers, a lot of folks that are in the Disney community, travel agents, news broadcasters, media outlets have been in there, have got to stay a couple of nights. What are your thoughts? We've seen some of the food. We've seen character interactions. We've seen the entertainment during dining. We've seen the, I guess you would call them staterooms, the cabins that you stay in when you spend the night there in the Galactic Star Cruiser and the Halcyon. What are your thoughts? We know the price point is high. I have thoughts, but I'll kind of save those here for just a little bit. And because I want to hear your thoughts. I don't want to kind of skew anything. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that. And also tonight, we can talk about kind of going back to either last Friday's show or the Friday before this past Friday, your top 3 experiences, either in the theme parks, pick a park. We talked about Epcot online the other day. But also, we could talk about this past Friday, Disney Springs. What are your top 3 attractions or things to do at Disney Springs or at a Walt Disney World Resort? I talked about doing the Surrey bikes. I talked about getting a No Way Jose at Beaches and Cream over at the Beach Club, or things outside of just kind of that don't fall into any other categories. Things like running a Run Disney weekend or playing golf on one of the golf courses at Walt Disney World. So give us some of your thoughts on that. But let's go ahead and open up the phone line to take the first call of the night, because I'm about to pass out just talking. And that's not what this show's about. It's about talking to you. So our first caller's on the line. Hey, who's joining us?
Hey, it's Matt Zabita. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Matt, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. You're commenting on the Star Wars Galactic Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. I've been watching lots of coverage this week. I mean, just to share my opinion, I mean, this thing looks awesome, but it's not something I would do now. I have a 10-month-old at home. I feel like this is something I'm going to do when she's older, when she's like 7 or 8, because it seems like kids are going to go out of their minds for this with all the mini games they have and everything.
Okay. So, and I'm right with you, right? Because here's how I feel about this is that, I hear a lot of negativity around this, and I've heard a lot of differing opinions. I've also heard some people that are kind of into it. And here's the thing. I mean, this is how I feel with Disney in general. And I have this conversation with Pam Forrester, kind of, we believe this. Pam and I, we have a lot of the same thoughts when it comes to Disney on many topics. And this is one of those things, is that when Disney comes up with something new, whether it's a restaurant or a resort or an attraction, it doesn't matter. A cruise ship, some part of a cruise ship. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that is made for me, right? Because I'm not going to like every single experience. I mean, I'm definitely a huge Star Wars fan. Don't get me wrong. When I go through TNT and the Star Wars movies are on, I have Disney Plus. I could watch them, with no commercials, but I'm stuck watching them I can't turn them off. And ever since I was a kid, I had them bootleg copies on VHS. Yeah. I mean, I grew up with them. I'm of that generation. So I'm in. And I saw these, I saw the coverage this weekend, and I agree with you that it is very cool. But at that price point, I keep telling myself, okay, what will that buy? This I do with everything in my life, though. I'm like, okay, okay, do I spend? Seriously, I was doing this for 2 years because I wanted to get a MacBook Air for a while just to work with my travel agency, because it would be really nice to when I go on vacation or I go to cheerleading championships, just work at the hotel.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, okay, it's about $1,000 for the basic bottom of the line, smallest hard drive MacBook.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's like $999. So, okay, what can I, am I going to go spend, do like 4 races, or can I have a MacBook that I can have for 5, 6, 7 years, kind of a thing. Like, can I give up a few races? And I kind of do that. And I think like, so I do like a price comparison in my head. Like, okay, so if it's $5,000, would I spend that $5,000? This is just me personally. Would I do that, or would I go on like a 5-night Western Caribbean real cruise? Because I love cruising too, and see the real world. I don't know. And the thing is, though, like, I'm not going to dog on it. And you mentioned like taking your kid. There's so many people, and if $5,000-$6,000 is really expensive for a few nights, right? But I mean, the thing is, I'm sure people go to Vegas and get, especially folks that have, no kids, and they like, they don't have to worry about sending their kids through college like we are, and things like that. Like, they work hard, they make a lot of money, and it's like how they spend their money is up to them. And, they may go to Vegas and drop, $5,000 in a weekend. And I mean, this gives them the opportunity to do that if they're Star Wars fans. It doesn't have to be for me, but it's there if I want to. I don't know. You feel kind of the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of your first points you mentioned earlier, and just now, is Disney doesn't make everything for everyone. I think for example, think about like Pandora. They had the Flight of Passage, and then they had the Navi River Journey. They can't have e-ticket attractions every single ride. They need to split the focus for other areas in the parks and for other groups of people. And, for the Star Wars hotel, I don't know if you want to really call it a hotel, but it's a, experience. You're absolutely right. It's not for everyone. Everyone's going to have their opinion of it. The price is crazy. You could send one person for that price point on an Adventures by Disney trip if you wanted, for like, 10-night stay or whatever. But yeah, it's, if I didn't have my kid at some point, we would want to go with her. I don't know if I personally would do this. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, like huge. I'm obsessed. I've watched every single animated show as well. I'm in deep, but it's just not something I would do. So hopefully my kids grow up, they love Star Wars enough where I can see them enjoy it. Because to me, like, their experience and their like happiness would make me be okay with like spending that amount of money for something. There's really nothing like this, I don't know if there's anything like this in the world. This is unique.
well, plus, and that here's where the price and the experience, kind of the conversation has to be had too, is that it has to be intimate, or else it wouldn't work. Like, you couldn't do this at a Pop Century sized hotel, right? I mean, because it has to be intimate, because you have to have these real, like, close in interactions and these experiences and these roles that you're going to take on throughout the experience. You can't do that with, a hotel of 3,000 people there at once. So think about supply and demand. I mean, the only, what's the way to limit how many people you're going to have is to raise the price. So, this conversation could be had for Genie Plus. I hate to say this, but I mean, and I saw Lynn Testa talking about this on Twitter briefly, kind of in a passing comment with somebody else. I was just following along, and he said, because this past week we didn't talk about this in the news. I was going to get to this, but how they added Space Mountain, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and a third attraction. What was the third one that they dropped on? Frozen Ever After.
I think it was Frozen. Yeah.
So they dropped those 3 from individual lightning lanes down to Genie Plus. So that gives Genie Plus a higher
from now till August 7th, I think.
Yeah. So that's good for all the summer crowds, spring break. I'll be down there, twice during that time. So that's exciting for me. But nice. So the thing is, that gives a higher value to Genie Plus. But in passing, he said, I'm surprised they didn't at the same time raise the price of Genie Plus. And the thing is, you got to watch it, right? I mean, take it to the extreme. Say Genie Plus was $5 a day. If everybody buys Genie Plus, it's really no good to anybody, right? So you got to find like that sweet spot. And I wonder if with the hotel, it can't be too cheap, or else like it would be like, it would almost be like a lottery. to get in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder about those things because I'm not a business person, but I just wonder like how they figure that out. I don't know if I know they're trying to maximize every dollar they can get out of us. I'm not naive, but there's also those kind of considerations too. Probably control of your inventory too.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like, in the Star Cruiser, like every single person is playing a role. Like it's a fully immersive experience. And to have like, for the most part, a lot of actors, I know not, I personally know a cast member who is working on the Star Cruiser. She's not an actor or anything like that, but she's there working, but you're going to have a lot of these actors who have these roles, that, costs a lot of time and money for them to learn all their lines and stuff like that. And it just makes the experience worth that much more, And, I also saw just like lots of, I'm not going to go into spoilers because I usually not like, I don't do spoilers. Like I actually haven't been on Rise of the Resistance yet. I went 2019 and I have not been back since until this September. And I've avoided all Rise spoilers. But for this,
that's pretty good. That's impressive if you've gone this long because I did the same thing, but I only had to wait a few months because it was really hard because it was just like every quarter.
It's been tough, Mike. Well, now that no one's talking about it, it's pretty easy to avoid. True. But of course, you see the Stormtrooper room. That's
right. That was the one thing that's the one thing I knew. Because, like, I mean, by the time like you try to avoid a spoiler, you saw that. Yeah, exactly. That was me.
Yeah. That's that's not a big deal. But I knew like with this, I was able to watch it because I don't want to watch it now and then forget about it because I'm not going to. If I do, it's not going to be for another like 5 to 10 years. I go on it. But from what I've seen, it's like, there's so many little things that could happen to you. Like, I want to spoil something, but like I saw one video on YouTube where they took these two people aside to like go break like a big character out of like this like jail or something like that. I forget what it was. So like, imagine you're with the kids walking around. So like, hey, just come here. Like, I need you to help like do this or that. So it's just like the little things like that, which I think is just going to make it a really fun, immersive experience. But I totally get the criticism, but I think it's mostly due with price. And unfortunately, with Disney this past year or so, they haven't been in the best of news, especially with things with price. So, it's tough. So, but what can you do?
And the thing is, like, they have to fill up, this whole time. And the first thing I saw, like, is for as soon as the embargo got lifted and the media coverage came out, I think I saw like somebody posting, "Oh my God, they're playing space bingo! Oh my God, they're doing like square dancing."
Yeah,
these are things you do on a cruise ship when it rains, and I'm like, yeah, that is what you do, on a cruise ship when it rains, But that's just that wasn't a great look. But I mean, the thing is, those kind of things are going to get better, right? I mean, right now,
yeah, well.
They're working out the mechanics of things. Like those things are going to get refined. I know, like if you're going next month and you're paying $6,000, that's not great. You're going to get the cruises will be better 6 months from now than they will be in a month. I mean, they're just going to learn. This is so new. I mean, it's they're going to go, every cruise is going to get better.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's going to be so many people that just see that one video and think that's what the cruise is, but from what I've seen, it's way more interactive like that. Like there are a ton of mini games on the ship that you can play. And like, I saw all these adults having fun, it's way more than space bingo and, maybe line dancing. Maybe that's like, a small part.
Right.
Yeah. It's, maybe not the coolest thing you should maybe be doing on the Star Cruiser, but there's a lot of other things.
Social media is that's the essence of social media. Like you find that little thing and you just, people run with it. Cause that's the first thing I told my wife that morning. I'm like, Yep. What's everybody talking about? There's all this cool stuff, and everybody's talking about bingo and line dancing. I was like, and you knew what happened. You just knew it. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's not expensive. It is terribly expensive, and you should have an outstanding time. But I think the proof will be in the pudding when people put down the $6,000 and walk off of it. I mean, and say, because here's the thing, like Disney Cruise Line is expensive. When you go on that, you can go on a lot of other cruises that are cheaper than Disney Cruise Line. But here's the deal. I mean, this is what I sell this is what I do for a living. When I ask guests when they get back, I'm like, did you feel like you got a good value out of Disney Cruise Line? Almost every guest that comes back says, yes, I would do it again. Yeah. So that tells you something right there. That, it was expensive, but it was worth it. So.
Yeah, I think from my experience, I actually did a trip report with you in 2015 where I did an Adventures by Disney trip in Spain. And that's also a lot of money as well. But to me, it was worth every single dollar because Disney just knows how to do, experiences. And I just hope that people find the value in this. Time will tell. It opens next month. We'll start seeing, full reviews of what people are saying. People are just, it's kind of like when Harmonious and Enchantment opened. People viewed it online and were like, "Oh, this stinks."
Right, right,
So
right. That's a good point.
we'll see.
That's
But
yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, I don't have to like it for it to be successful. That's how I'm not
no,
gonna get.
no.
But that's what social media is, though. Like, so many people are saying, it's terrible. And like, for one, they haven't even been there. And two, they don't know. Like, I mean, it was like
Mhm.
they made their call in 15 minutes from like 7 posts they saw. Like, I don't know. I just think you got to give things a chance. And like, I mean, even you got to give it a couple months. This thing is so new. But
I know.
you made a point about
Yeah.
Pandora. Like, I've never seen the movie Avatar, and I don't want to see the
Mhm.
movie Avatar. It's never been something that's interesting to me. I love going
Mike,
through Pandora.
if I buy the Blu-ray for you, will you watch it?
I just never, I don't know why. I'm not a movie guy. I don't watch movies.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like,
No,
but I
yeah.
like going in the land. Like, the land is gorgeous. Like, I love
Mhm.
the boat ride. The flight of passage is okay. It just makes me almost want to hurl every time. But like, the land is amazing. Like,
I want to get back to that in a second.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I enjoy, you don't have to like 100% everything. I think that's a problem with social media too, many times, that everybody's like 0 or 100. Like, you can't be like 72%
Mhm.
and just be happy.
Yeah. Well, I've already taken up a lot of time, but two quick things. One is a comment and one is a question for you. Just, I want to give someone else a turn, but you said flight of passage makes you sick. For some reason, I don't know what it is with me. I have bad motion sickness. I always take Dramamine every day in the parks. For some reason, I'm fine on that ride. I don't know what it is, but I have no issues whatsoever. But like, Star Tours, I'm done after that. I can't do it. So,
and I love Star
it's
Wars.
weird how
It kills me. I want to do that ride so bad.
Yeah, that one's tough. But hopefully this could be a really quick answer from you. So I've not done, I'm going September. It's going to be 4 of us, 4 adults, and then she's going to be like 16 or 17 months at the time. For Genie Plus, I'll have my mom and sister with us, but, say if we do like a fast pass for like, It's a Small World or something, am I able to do it for like me, my wife, and my, actually, I don't know, since my baby's she's not going to be a ticket. We don't have to do fast pass for her, but can I split up the fast passes, like 2 for us and then 2 for like my mom and sister, say they want to ride like Space Mountain or something?
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Cause everybody's
You can?
independent. Yeah, you can. As far as I know,
Okay.
yeah, that's how it's supposed to work. Of course, will it work that day? Yeah, no, you should be
Yeah.
able to. Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay.
That's how
Just,
systems design.
just in case, like, they, I don't want them to have to like go on I want them to have fun as well. They haven't been to Disney World since 2004, so I want to make sure they get their time in there. So,
and if it doesn't, just go to guest services and tell them that's your goal, and they might have to tinker around with like your accounts, how they're either linked or de-link or whatever.
Okay.
But just but it should work right out of the box. So,
okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, we'll have a good time.
I'll look into it a bit more and see what happens.
Hey, I appreciate the conversation, and
your
thoughts are right on. And good luck with everything you guys are doing. And it's great talking to you tonight. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate the time. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
All right, 407-413-9395, 407-413-9395. The William is up in the Pacific Northwest, whose pizza restaurant also got a big shout out on Facebook, which I shared that. So check out his place to get pie on my Facebook feed, and you can check that out. But yeah, you don't have to like everything. He had the greatest quote here. Let me go back and hit it here about value. And he said something about coffee. He said, here's the deal, because I think this is very true. He says, you could sell me the greatest cup of coffee found on earth for $5. But for him, it wouldn't be worth it because he doesn't like coffee. I agree, right? I mean, unless you like something, the value in something is different. So for somebody who has lived and breathed and, wanted to be a Jedi, and like they've just, they've wore the Jedi robe to every premiere of every movie, they've seen every animated thing. This, an opportunity to go to do something like this is worth $5,000 to $6,000, I'd imagine. I mean, because I'd imagine some of these folks who are going here probably go to conventions for the weekend, and they might spend that much money on their air, hotel, what they're going to buy at the convention, experiences there. I don't know, different strokes for different folks. I mean, because there are people that, for example, here's another thing that's similar to this for sports fans. I know the Cardinals do a fantasy baseball camp where you can play baseball down at the spring training park with former Cardinals. And you get to, take batting practice. You actually even play like scrimmage games. You get to bat off of, former pitchers, and you get to run the base. You get a uniform. You get everything. It's super expensive. But I mean, would I like to live the life of a Cardinal for a weekend? Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. It's super expensive, but it's like a bucket list thing. I don't know. That's how I feel. All right, let's get to the next call. And I think it is Alfred. Alfred, is this you?
Yes, it is.
Hey, what's going on? Happy Sunday night.
Happy Sunday. How's it going?
Pretty good. So what's on your mind?
Well, I will talk to the Star Cruiser also.
Why not? Tonight's the night to do it.
Yeah. I feel that I'm sure it's wonderful, but I have a problem the way they do things, Disney. First, the starting price is ridiculous. You can, like you said, you can actually do a Disney cruise, I think, for probably less money.
You can. It depends where you go. You could definitely do a Bahamian cruise for less than that.
Yeah. And you're getting a week. Here you're getting 2 days. So I don't feel it's really a value at all. And I love Star Wars also. But I don't feel that I would want to spend that kind of money when I can use that money for something better or different. I would prefer to spend 10 nights at Disney World at Pop Century for that money.
Okay. Let me just throw this, because somebody in the chat just brought up another great point. I was talking about the fantasy baseball camp for the weekend. It's probably about this expensive, which I would like to do as a bucket list item. Matt Brown is in our live chat right now. He says he would pay $6,000 if the Aggies ever made the college football playoff, and that's only for a few hours of entertainment instead of even a whole weekend. Like, he would pay $6,000 to watch his college football team play in a national championship game. And as a Mizzou fan, I'm not saying I wouldn't either, because it's like, it'd be a once in a lifetime thing. It'd be a miracle. But it's like one of those things, like it's bucket list, right? I mean, I don't think this is a place like Pop Century. Like, I've been to Pop Century probably 15 times, probably 20 times. For like little weekends. You probably go to Galactic. I mean, unless you're like, but you think about this though, Alfred, like, there's people that are not like us, right? I mean, like, to me, like, I stress out about buying something that's like $25. But I'm super cheap. But like, there's people that have the means though, that $6,000 is probably like spending $20 to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that big of a investment to them. So I mean, it's just, but we're all in different places.
Yeah. Well, the phrase different strokes for different folks. That's fine. But here's my issue also. They have a media weekend, and they bring up all these YouTube people, and they're probably not paying a dime.
Oh, they're not. And they're getting all kinds of stuff, because I've been to those things. But that's the game that everybody plays right now. That's the game. That's just how the game's played. I mean, I know that people get ticked about that, but that's just how it works.
But I can understand if you went, say, to a media premiere, because you have a purpose. You're promoting your business. You're an agent. You should be there.
Well, let me just say, somebody from the podcast is there right now.
Yeah. And I have nothing against who's there, but the problem is, like, I do follow someone, a YouTuber, and he just got 100,000 followers, and he's there. To me, you need to work your business before you get these privileges, per se.
Yeah, I mean,
if you were a YouTuber from 5 years ago and you built yourself and you've got your 100,000, your 200,000, that's different because you've worked your business for 5 years. This other guy, he's only worked his business for, well, he's been YouTuber for years, but he just started to get serious like a year ago.
Yeah, those things though, the way they work, I mean, because I've been to many social media events with Disney, and they're gracious hosts, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, they want you to go down and cover it in a obviously they want you to cover it in a positive light, and they give you so many great opportunities to say good things. I mean, you're getting access that you never get as a typical guest, and you're getting everything for free. You're getting gifts, you're getting, access that you never have. And so it's very easy to write glowing reviews, that's how the system works. And that's why everybody's down there. Now, what I'm curious about, because that's what we've been seeing for the last few days, since like Friday or whatever, we've been seeing that kind of stuff. But what I'm super curious about seeing is over the next month or two is when people are paying and they don't have, a reason to stay positive, and just really say, okay, I had some skin in the game. I plopped down, $5,000 for this. Now, what did I think? Now, that's where the rubber meets the road.
And the real review.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it could still be awesome. And it looks very cool. I mean, you got to agree. Those characters are walking around like the dining room and, playing music and all that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, shoot, that looked like, you take Oga's Cantina. That was like Oga's Cantina on steroids. That was crazy. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. And what I like about it too is that these characters are really unknown.
Right.
They don't have a name.
Well, see, I don't know, because I don't like to do all the cartoons and all that. I'm like, maybe they're in that. I just watch the movies. I know the movies well. I don't know the rest of the stuff. I don't read the books and stuff.
I talked to a friend of mine about this, and he made a great point. He said Disney decided to do this just to make the money, when this was how Galaxy's Edge was supposed to be, with all the characters walking around and the experience of it. Galaxy's Edge lost that, and now the Star Cruiser has it.
Okay,
so
I saw
charging all that money for it.
Well, I saw that article. And that article was really ripping through social media. I think it was yesterday. It was over the weekend. Right. In the concept art, Galaxy's Edge was very, very aggressive in how immersive it was going to be. Yeah, how it was going to be. Right. But I mean, when they probably got down to it, and again, I'm not trying to be an apologist for Disney, but I just know how the world works. Like, you've heard that phrase, like, this is why we can't have nice things. Like, when when people are in it, like a more intimate experience, like like inside this Halcyon, or, inside the Star Cruiser, whatever you want to call it, inside this hotel, you're less likely to be, breaking stuff and touching stuff you're not supposed to. And, you're going to be more hands off with characters and stuff. I think people are better behaved in a situation like that, where I think it would be more of a free for all if you had all those characters and all these, high tech kind of things happening, just roaming around Batu. I just think that things get broken. I hate to say that, but I mean, there's just a few people that would spoil it for the rest of us. It's not good.
Right.
I hate that.
But I just feel that, like, Galaxy's Edge only has like a few characters, and now they're up high. You can't interact with them. I get it. The pandemic stopped a lot of this, but now that everything's going back to normal, I think Disney needs to now have some more experience in Galaxy's Edge.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I totally
people
agree.
Are losing interest.
But I will say that I have seen, this was pre-pandemic, when I was down before all that stuff happened, that they did have, they had like Chewbacca walking around, and Rey was walking around, and Kylo Ren was walking around. And I mean, and stormtroopers were everywhere. So there was some of that. But I mean, the thing is, they are going to, obviously, if they're going to have a hotel that's the super unique experience, they're going to have like these very, the dude who shot Greedo, the guy who shot, Han shot first or whatever, like I saw him. Of course they're gonna have, like, he's super hot. They're gonna have him in the hotel so you can go see him there, so you pay the money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the world
Right.
works.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
Right.
I get it. I just had to bring that point up because it does get frustrating. And like everything that's been done with Jetpack lately is for the money. And so it's a little frustrating.
It's funny to
You
see how
know.
this is going to go, though, because it was getting so much negative press. And then I've seen over the last like 36 hours that, because all I was seeing was like, there was, the bookings were low, they're having trouble booking it. Now I've heard that the first month is all solidly booked. So people, I think it's trending back up even at the price point. So we'll see how things go, especially like in the next, through like Memorial Day, or the summer, see how things happen.
Well, the next thing is, I can't wait for Cosmic Rewind. That's worth paying the money for a day's ticket to go to Epcot.
Whoa, that's a big statement. That's over $100. You pay over $100 to ride that ride.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait.
I'm not as excited. I think it's gonna make me sick. I'm gonna ride
probably
it.
Make me sick too, but I'm riding it.
Why does everything got to spin? Why do I got to be so old? Why can't it not spin? Because there's a ride at Silver Dollar City that I did called Time Traveler. It's kind of the same like mechanics. It's got those like spinny cars on a roller coaster track. I just hope these don't spin as much. I don't think they will, because this one down at Silver Dollar City didn't have like show scenes. It was just basically a roller coaster that went upside down a bunch of times. So I think if it has show scenes, it's not going to be like wild and crazy spinning. So if it's more like a haunted mansion where it just kind of points you in the right direction, so you can kind of see like, okay, you're supposed to see that. Okay, now you're supposed to see that. That's cool. I'll do that. But
well, I think it might be a little bit more than that, but I don't think it's going to be crazy, because I think it's still considered a family coaster, isn't it?
I don't know. I think this is supposed to be a throw ride, I would imagine.
Oh yeah,
I would guess.
Oh.
I don't know. I would think so. Wouldn't you think so? If it's Marvel, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Like I don't really watch Marvel movies. I have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy. I've seen none of them.
Yeah, me neither.
But I'm still excited for this ride.
If that little raccoon isn't driving this thing, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah. maybe Groot's gonna take us around.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have that's like Chewbacca and Han Solo. Have the tree and the raccoon are your pilots. Perfect.
But I like the idea of the backwards launch. I think that's gonna be cool.
See, I've done that at Six Flags, Mr. Freeze. That was pretty cool. That was a fun roller coaster.
And I love, even like on Expedition Everest, how you go backwards. I love that. I think that is so cool. It feels so weird, but it's so great at the same time.
Let me ask you about that. Do you feel like you go upside down when you go backwards on that? I swear it feels like you go up. To me, it feels like you go upside down when you're going backwards on Everest. I'm always like,
really?
I think we went upside down. I know you don't, because you just have a lap belt. But it feels like every time feels like you go upside down in that backward part. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't feel that.
I always feel that.
I love that. So I think this is going to be cool. It's the same premise. It's a backwards launch. You're going backwards. Yeah. But this is going to be a little different. And what I'm thinking is, this backward launch, you're going to go up instead of down.
I would guess, yeah. That's if I had to guess, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to feel different also. But still exciting.
It's good to have
Can't
something
wait
new.
for it.
I'm excited for trying.
Memorial Day weekend.
I know that's sooner than I thought. I thought it'd be this fall. So I'm pumped for that. Something new.
Yeah. But I'm hoping that because this is so soon, that Tron will be even sooner.
That'd be nice. I'm pumped for Tron. I don't know why, but that just looks awesome to be like on a motorcycle. Because Scott and I sat in those like, dummy vehicles that were sitting outside of Space Mountain when they had them out there that one weekend or that little period of time. And that thing, I'm like, dude, we're going to ride a roller coaster where we're sitting like this. This is going to be awesome. Yeah. So I can't wait. That's going to be a blast. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and one more point I have to make. Tron
as a duplicate, and
Yeah.
it's taking them 5 years to do.
Well, I mean, it happens. Sometimes the copy machine gets jammed. I mean, that happened at school when I used to be a teacher. It happens.
The copy machine I can understand because I was a teacher too.
We had to call Rico, and they had to come out
Disney,
and fix
who
the
has
thing.
billions, I'm sorry, they should be ready to go.
They should.
They
They
look
should.
bad coming up with Universal, who's, and I guarantee Epic Universe is probably almost done.
Well,
You know, it would take Disney 10 years to do it.
it's not almost done, but they're hustling. Universal does get stuff done remarkably fast.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
almost, they're almost like the permanent theme park company, like the version of like your fair that
Yeah.
comes to town and puts the rides up like overnight. Then they're there, and then they're just boom, they're gone in 35 minutes.
That's
They're
them.
quick, man. They don't
Yep.
mess around.
My guess is before we get Tron, they'll have a third Harry Potter section.
I doubt that. Tron's close. Tron's close. It's getting there. But they'll have another park before we'll have another roller coaster. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. And you know I love Disney.
Oh, me too.
I just have to point out their shortcomings too, because
Same.
that's what it's about. You know, I love it so much. I have to say, this is where they're going astray.
I hear you. Sometimes when you love somebody, it drives you crazy. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, if you did, the worst thing is apathy, right? If you didn't care, that's the worst
Yeah.
sign. Like when you get frustrated,
Yeah.
it's because you care. That's how I think of things.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that that the fans have this outlet with you to speak this way, because
I'm sure Disney loves
we don't
that.
know who's listening. Disney could be listening. We don't know.
Why is there a red
know.
dot on my chest right now? Whoa, wait a second. The Disney laser.
coming
Wait, what's
for
going on? We got to end this call. They're like, yeah, that was a good outlet. Click. Anyway.
Yeah, but
Well, I got to roll because I'll get some of these other calls in. But Alfred,
Yeah.
we'll 2 weeks. We'll be back because I got to take next weekend off for cheerleading.
Okay.
I'll be up in Schaumburg.
All
All right.
right.
Well, have a good one, buddy. You stay safe. I'll
Have
talk to you
fun.
soon.
Have a good
Okay.
week.
Yep. We'll try to
All
win.
right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Yep.
All right. Let's get to the next call here. And I believe we're talking to our friend Corwin of Amber. I think we're hearing the replay. What's up, Corwin of Amber? What's going on?
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
Hey there. Hi there, ho there. What's going on? How's the West Coast today?
Doing okay. A bit rainy, a bit cool, but warmer than it has been.
That's how it's supposed to be out there, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. We like it to rain here. Keep the Californians away.
That's pretty funny. So what's going on? We talking Star Cruiser? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was listening. I wasn't going to call in, but I had to weigh in. You might guess from some of our previous interactions, I'm all into that kind of stuff with conventions and
Right.
everything else. So
I'd love to get your thoughts. I want to totally. This is why I love this show, because everybody has their own background, everybody has their own thoughts, and they're all, everybody has equal say here. I'm not, I just love hearing what everybody's point of view is on these things. So please do share.
Yeah, I'm one of those folks who saw Star Wars in '77. A couple months after it opened, drove a girl that I liked up there to see it. She wasn't into it. I was, and hit up to Seattle from Olympia, and so been a Star Wars fan ever since. And I was a little skeptical, but seeing the media previews and such, I'm thinking it's going to be expensive, and I'm probably not going to be able to go for about a year and a half, 2 years getting that money together. But I'm going to go. I have, my doubts about some of the, current way things are done, just because, even in that small, intimate environment, I mean, it's only 350 people per cruise.
Right.
But it's a small space. You can't have a lot of enough different experiences that you're going to draw people out into small groups. So any experience, you're going to have a crowd. You're going to have 20 or 30 people at each experience. So it's not going to be that intimate. So it's going to be a sort of like little shows that pop up, and you're just going to have to take it in that vein. And then when you get the chance, have those one-on-one experiences where they show up, and they will show up throughout the time. And I was running the numbers. I'm actually surprised they've done this. It doesn't look like this makes that much money. I mean, just running the numbers, 80 rooms, 180 trips a year, a couple days a year. And then the add-ons. That only looks like 12. Unless I've dropped a decimal somewhere, it only looks like 12, 15 million a year.
Well, too, and this kind of an experience is very labor intensive too, right? I mean, that's why it has to be expensive, is because, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean here, but you just can't pull any cast member to do these kind of positions, right? I mean, if you're going to be, even an entertainment cast member, somebody who's in a parade can't be, I just lost his name again, the guy who shot Han shot first, Greedo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there has to be, like, it's so, because it's, and the thing is too, here's the other thing I was thinking about, and I want to get a couple of your thoughts on a couple of things too, real quick, while I have you, but like, here's the dangerous thing about a situation like this in the social media age. Just what I was thinking about the other day, is that who's going to be in this hotel? It's not going to be for the most part, I would say, at least early. It's not going to be a whole lot of folks who don't know anything about Star Wars. It's going to be people that know everything about Star Wars. And like, they're going to nitpick every little thing. Like, is that canon? Is that not canon? Does that guy have too many tentacles? Or, it's like, man, I mean, like, I know they have to be super detailed, but you're going to have like the super, and I'm saying this term nicely because, we're Disney nerds and all that, but I mean, you got the super Star Wars nerds in there that are like all in, right? So you got to do this right, or else you're just going to get roasted. I mean, do you feel that? That's how I thought. I was like, oh my gosh, because it is so up close and personal, you can't fake it.
Well, I'm looking at it from the standpoint is that those folks have been after Disney since they took over Disney, because Disney has cut off a lot of the pieces that were considered canon up until they took over. Lucas had said all the novels were the Star Wars story, and Disney has said no, those are no longer part of the Star Wars universe, and so huge amounts of what was out there has already been cut off and already just upset people to a really big degree. So it's nothing. This is not going to be anything new. If they're picking apart, well, that's not, well, you don't know, because Disney says we reserve the right to change things, and we're going to change it.
True.
So, and you just have to live with it. Live with the core that's still there.
I mean, it is their right. They own the property, but I get it, because it is hard to see somebody mess with something that's part of like what you grew up with. Right. I mean, it's like, I'm having this with my baseball team. Like I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan. And since the time I was a baby, we had two announcers on our radio station. We had Jack Buck and Mike Shannon. And until this coming season, if it ever happens, and that's a whole nother story, which I could do a really long podcast about the lockout, but this will be the first season that we don't have one of those two guys broadcasting our baseball games on the radio. And I know this sounds so stupid, but I'm having a hard time like letting that go. That's like, I mean, I am 48 years old, and this is going to be my first summer to not have one of those two guys calling my Cardinals each night when I turn on the radio. And that's a hard thing. It's the same thing with Star Wars. Like you can't mess with something that's part of your childhood. That's hard.
My childhood. I'm old enough. My childhood has been messed with several times.
I know you when you get. I know once you get a little older, you figure out that nothing's sacred.
So no, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, it's going to be a year or two, maybe 3 before because I'm going to spend the 6, whatever it is at that point, because they'll jack the price. That, and then, I'm just not going, from Seattle, I'm not going to Orlando for just 2 days and flying back. I'm going to be spending more money there for a trip to Disney as well. So it's going to be a big, expensive trip.
Right.
And so that's, I have all my, as you might guess, my friends are all into this kind of thing too. The ones that have watched the previews of, all years in DFB and Ordinary Adventurers and, just all these different media YouTuber groups, they're saying, yep, I was skeptical. Now I want to go. And it's to the point of all those folks being there for the media, a vast majority of them are actually shelling out money to pay for a trip. Coming up in the first couple trips, they got a freebie, but they're also putting skin in the game to say, how did they give us a sneak preview, they treated us well. We're going as real guests. How do we get treated?
Yeah, and I respect that very much. I mean, because I know Len is going here. First set of cruises, he's paying his money. I'm sure the people over at the Diz are going to do the same. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are doing that, and I appreciate that. So,
I see.
That helps.
I'm watching you. Just so you know, I'm also watching the stream in the background here. And yes, you need to go to Anaheim.
Yes,
anyway.
I'm trying. I know, seriously, William. I know, and I'm going to go and have to take a plane up to the Northwest there and get a pizza. So it's one of the things.
Yes, well, I was looking on your Facebook thing, trying to find that since I'm in the Northwest. See,
I shared it. I don't know. The algorithm's so weird, but I shared it this afternoon or this morning sometime.
Yeah, well, I'm not one of your friends yet.
Oh,
so
well, just friend me and I'll get you taken care of tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, so but yeah, no, we're gonna go. I absolutely want to go. And I'm not one of those people who role play well. So, but even given that, I will have a good time at it. It will be fun for the in and out of the experience, and so that'll be something that I want to do and must do and will do.
See, here's the thing too. Here's kind of what I can draw a comparison to, which I haven't brought up quite yet. Was I went to space camp for educators in 2001. So Boeing came to our school because we taught. I taught, and my wife still does, in a lower socioeconomic part of St. Louis, Ferguson. If you remember, back in 2014 with all the riots and all that stuff, that's where that's where our schools were. So Boeing is actually in that district. It used to be McDonnell Douglas. It's Boeing. They're a great corporate citizen. So every year they send some teachers to space camp down in Alabama for a week, and you go down, and it's a week where you learn how to teach space science to your students. You go home, and then you're a better teacher for your kids. So they somehow picked our school. My principal's like, I know you love space. You want to go to space camp? I was like, heck yeah, let's roll. So I went down, I did that for a week, and it changed my life. It was awesome. I loved it so much. I went back for the next 2 summers, and I was an instructor at space camp for the same program. And I taught teachers for 2 summers, and it was great. I spent the whole summers there from May to the end of August. But the thing is, down there, it was similar to what this is, probably not as intense, but it was the chance that if you were a space nerd teacher, because you had to be a teacher to go to the program. But I mean, because there's really not an adult version that not teachers, but there's a kid version. But at space camp, you lived simulated life of an astronaut for a week at space camp, right? You wore the flight suit. You practiced all week for your mission, and you were either a mission control person, or you were in the orbiter, or you did a spacewalk, or and all these other classes you were taking about shuttle orientation, about all the systems on the space shuttle, and you were eating, and you were doing physical fitness, and you were building rockets, to launch outside. It was very immersive. It was very experiential. And I think that's what this is going to evolve. I think it's already there about 80%. And I think they're going to learn how to get feedback from guests and take it the whole 100%. Because the thing was, I was exhausted when I just went through the program. When I got home, I was exhausted. But I got home and I was like, that was the coolest thing I ever did. And the whole thing was I mean, I got home and I immediately emailed the director of the program. I said, I have to come back and teach in this program. What does it take? Where do you get your teachers? And she's like, oh, they're from all over the country. You just got to pass this big test. You got to, I'm like, I'm in. I'm like, just tell me. And so I went, she's like, just come. She's like, okay, you can try to take the test, come down next May. And I did, and I passed the test. I mean, it was amazing. But I think it's one of those things I think people are hopefully going to leave after 2 days there and be like, God, I didn't see the sun because I never went outside. And I don't care. That was the cool, like 48 hours went like in 48 minutes. That's what I hope people say. Because I think that'd be the mark of a good experience.
That's the big thing is that, for people who are really getting into it, they're spending the money and they're really into it. There's going to be such a sense of FOMO with it, just because there will be stuff going on and that all over the place. You won't be able to do it all. You won't. You're going to be exhausted because you're not going to want to go to bed because you don't want to miss something.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's going to be, if you buy into it. That's the thing. You have to buy into it for it to be worth it. If you go there and you're just a casual person, you say, "Oh, I just want to go to the thing," and so, you're not going to have a good time. And that's one of our core mantras, because I help run science fiction conventions, and I go to science fiction conventions, and often you go to one of these events, and they're not well run. Our stuff goes wrong, and you're not, it's just not what you wanted it to be. But you're going to have a good time if you remember, we are our own entertainment. You get out of it what you put into it.
That's a good point.
And
really
so you go to some of the worst science fiction conventions and you have the best time because you went with the idea that you're going to experience things. You're going to get with people who are your friends, and you're going to do things together, and maybe just complaining about what's going on, and but you're going to have a good time because you do the work. The work really to have a good time.
Right. And that's what I wonder too. Like, because obviously, I'm kind of an extrovert, right? I do a podcast. I loved when I worked at Space Camp because I was always like front and center. I was like leading the team in team building activities, because you'd have I got a group of 16 teachers every Tuesday, and then I had to get them to be a team by graduation on that following Sunday. And so everybody had to be like, I was in charge of making that 16 individuals tight as a family by Sunday. And I love that stuff. So I had to clown, I had to, really do a lot of team building stuff with my group. And I love that kind of stuff. But I wonder, like, this experience at Star Cruiser, like if you are an introvert, which I'm sure there's tons of Star Wars fans that are introverts, and you kind of even mentioned this, you don't know how you're going to feel about getting all the way involved in some of these situations where, can you really get the full enjoyment if you don't if you're not really into hey, come with me, we got to bust this person out of the cell block, Princess Leia's down there, and there's a short stormtrooper, we got to get her out. Oh, you cut our only way out. You got to go down the garbage chute, dude, I don't want to do any of this. I'm just here to watch, it's going to be weird to see how different personalities. Cause I'd be like, yeah, let's go. Give me a blaster. I'm in, I'm playing it up, but not everybody's like that. Yeah. It's going to be weird.
No, and it's it's taken a sort of step back from that. Several of the podcasters, YouTubers and stuff have mentioned this is something where this thing doesn't have to be Star Wars. You can overlay just about any kind of story onto this format.
I've seen that.
So if you don't, even if you're, so, you don't have to be into Star Wars. You just have to be into an adventure format. Being into Star Wars helps, but if you're into an adventure format where it's, good versus bad, and you can choose which side of that you want to be on, then, that sort of opens up the gates of, I can have fun at this. I don't have to know Star Wars. I'm just in a story, and I'm going to learn about Star Wars as I go along. And have that format. So, yeah, it'll be interesting what happens. What I really am in and of this, to me, some of the character interactions and the characters in there are really what's going to make it. It'll be interesting to see how they keep that up. There's a couple of the characters I really wonder about how they are going to maintain those characters during the event, because to me it seems like that captain has almost no time to get out of makeup and back into makeup. You know,
Well,
they're on so long.
Well, so too, and I think a couple things with that real quick before I forget, because one thing is like some of these characters are so unique. Like I think it's going to be hard to find different, how do I say this? Different cast members to play those roles because it's like, a face character, like they have a unique look. But here's the thing too. I think that there's going to be a couple characters inside of the Star Cruiser that are going to be breakout characters on the level of like a Figment or a Dreamfinder, or say your favorite character out of Adventurers Club, probably more akin to that, something like that. I think that there's going to be like, I think one or two characters that are in there are going to become like these Disney legends quickly, almost like, just like the stuff of myths. Like you got to get a picture with this character.
Oh, I agree. I think that the keyboardist in the band who's of that same species as Greedo, the one that Han shot, that character looks amazing, just amazing, and just the interactions that I've seen, how that worked out and people playing into that. I think that's going to be a big one,
right?
And there's a couple others that are just, I agree, that are just going to take off. And I agree that it's going to be hard to sort of switch out with some of those people. You mean, if I watch some of the YouTubes and you see the cavalcades in Disneyland, and you can tell they're shot at different times of the year, it's the same Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Throughout, they don't switch out that cast member.
That's called cha-ching. I've heard stories like Jim Hill tell stories about how, back in Walt's day, like he had like, a Peter Pan and like he got paid well. But I mean, that was like, he didn't do anything else. Like Peter Pan was just like, I mean, that's all Peter Pan did was Peter Pan, so that was it. Yeah.
And so it's, so those characters, they're going to work them hard, and it's going to be, but they're going to have a couple of them back and forth.
Right. It is interesting. It's funny because the thing is, I think that the theme park fan, because of things like websites and blogs and YouTube channels and podcasts and so forth, is that everybody is now so hyper focused on the details and is so aware of how things happen that, 20 years ago, if something like this happened, nobody was like thinking about all these other things. Now it's kind of fun just to see like we're talking about this stuff and this thing hasn't even opened to the general public yet. Like we're like, oh my God, how's this going to work? But it is, I mean, that's the thing is, everybody has their thing. Like I like watching sports, but I also like being, a theme park fan. I like watching the operations of all this and seeing how it's going to play out. Whether I go there or not, it's fun to watch and see how it all works out.
Yep.
All right. Well, I appreciate you have a unique perspective and I sure appreciate it.
Okie doke.
All right. Well, hey, you stay safe, stay good, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Well, yep, possibly.
All right.
I have something to say.
All righty. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Good talking to you. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Well, that's going to do it. The Force apparently was with us tonight because it was all Star Cruiser talk, which is okay. I think that's what everybody need to get out of their system. And lots of great perspectives here. And that's what I love about our podcast. We can have these discussions and we can get different perspectives from different people. It's great. Katie in the live chat, she said she had the same thoughts. She's kind of an introvert, but she wants to go and experience this. But does she is this a place? Is Star Cruiser a place for Star Wars introverts? Because you're going to get dragged down the hall and be like, hey, come help us take this blaster. We got to get these people out of this cell block. Maybe you're not into doing all that. Maybe you don't want to blast anybody out of a cell block. You just want to kind of check it out. You just want to be there and have some blue milk and just, go have dinner. Have a nice little, bunk bed in your cabin. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But the good news is we get to see, more and more of this coverage here as the weeks unfold, and we'll talk about it here on the Be Our Guest podcast. But thanks for hanging out with me this week. It's been a lot of fun, and thanks for keeping me company, and hope you enjoyed the show. If you're listening to it on Thursday, don't forget, as always, our podcast is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney vacation. Whether it's down to Walt Disney World, out to Disneyland, sailing with the Disney Cruise Line, or even heading out to Adventures by Disney, all the places around the world they travel to. Just drop by themagicforless.com today, fill out that free, no obligation quote form. Once you do that, just put as much information as you have. An agent will get back with you right away. And if you mention the Be Our Guest podcast, that agent will be Mike Rallman. So if you want to work with me, just put the Be Our Guest podcast and we'll have a good time planning that vacation together. So again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. It really does help us out. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons who support the show each and every month. We could not do this without you. Thank you again for your support. Our patrons get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. If you'd like to check that out, come on over, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give me a follow on the social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at beourguestmike. I'd love to talk to you this week, so come on over there. And subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for the Be Our Guest podcast. Again, no live show this coming Sunday because I will be out of town with another cheer competition up in Schaumburg, Illinois. But 2 weeks from this Sunday, we'll be back again live with Scotty G talking Disney and taking your calls, anything you want to talk about. We'll have the phone lines open for you then. Also, if you don't mind, give us a rating and review wherever you download the show. That really helps us out, and we'd sure appreciate that. And thanks to everybody who has already done that. All right, time to get out of here and let you get on with your Sunday night if you're tuned in live, or your Thursday if you're checking us out on the feed. Either way, I thank you sincerely for your support of the Be Our Guest podcast. So for, well, I guess just Mike, have a great Thursday or a great Sunday night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Yeah, maybe the introvert ends up in the cell. That would be wonderful. You are going to prison because you are an introvert. All the extroverts are throwing all the introverts in the Star Wars jail. That would be a look. Hey, let me save this real quick while I'm hanging out with you guys. Let's see. This PC. We'll call this live show. February. What's today? 27th, 2022. Edited. Yeah, that'd be funny. Let's slam all the introverts into a Star Wars cell. Yeah, that's not good. That is so funny. Yeah, Fulton, next week, because I have you on the board somewhere. I'm on a new computer too. A new computer to answer the phones. Yes, that's it, Katie. Yes, you are going to prison because you are an introvert. Yes. Sorry. That's what Darth Vader will say. You will face Darth Vader or Kylo Ren, and he will say, I have heard you are an introvert. You are going to prison. Sorry, William. Hey, you don't have to listen on Thursday. You just got to at least download it, then delete it. That's just all I ask. I'll buy an extra pizza when I come up. Thanks, Alfred. Thanks, everybody, for the calls. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been awesome. You guys have a good night. I am going to go get some work done and see the fam. See you guys. Fun show coming your way on Monday. Jennifer from Florida talks about St. Caribbean Beach. It's a Christmas show. It's fun.